Hello everybody, it's me, and I'm back with another educated guess. Learn to speak would probably be helpful before recording these things. This is Orcs Must Die by Robot Entertainment. It's a sort of strategy third-person shooter hybrid, and I really enjoy it. And the sequel's coming out sometime this week, so I thought I'd take the opportunity to quickly show you the first one, and maybe get you interested before the new one comes out. So the idea behind this game is that you play as the War Mage. And the idea behind him is he defends the rift from orcs, and the rift essentially leads to human settlements and stuff. So it's you've got to stop orc armies from getting through, and you do this with a variety of traps, like devices, weapons, all sorts of stuff. So it works in its simplest sense, very much like a tower defense game. You place down traps and like weapons and things like that to stop them from getting through, and then they try to get through them. But in this game you have the addition of actually having a character that you play as well, instead of just being like a top-down view thing. So I mean, the War Mage isn't just going to sit around and watch things go. He's got a friggin' crossbow. And he doesn't like these orcs being on his territory. He just runs in there and shoots them up. He's a cocky little bastard as well, so he likes to talk and stuff. But as you can see, you kind of start off with not very much. So in this level, I've forgotten what this level's called now actually, but there are two ways that the orcs can go. So I placed down some barricades to funnel them down into one area. The trouble is, doing that spent all my money, so I had like no traps, which meant I pretty much had to take down the entire wave on my own. But that's cool, you can do that. There are some minimalist builds where you can literally just go crazy and shoot them down. I do cut it a bit fine in this level, I think, but that's okay. As long as the orcs don't get through, it's all fine. You can see there's a number in the top right hand corner where that's 20, and that's how many orcs or how many enemies you're allowed through the rift at any one time before you lose. But obviously it affects your rank and stuff, and you can use points that you get from earning high ranks and levels to upgrade your weapons and all that cool stuff. These kobolds, these are little annoying bastards because they're so fast that traps spring and don't kill them unless you align them in a certain way. But yeah, all they do is just bolt for the portal, just like straight away. They just don't muck around. Whereas orcs will attack you if they spot you, so you can use yourself as a nice decoy sometimes in a desperate situation, which I have done before. Kobolds just ignore you. They can be quite annoying. In fact, I think one gets through later on. He just slips past me while I'm shooting someone else, which is very annoying. But yeah, the idea is you earn money by killing orcs, and then you use that money to put down traps, which let you kill more orcs, which get you more money, so you can put down more traps. And as the waves go on, it kind of escalates from there. But I'm going to show you two levels today. I really enjoy this game. It's just it's nice, different. It's really like it's a tower defense game, so it's got the strategic element, but it's also really fast-paced. Especially when you get in situations like this, when you've just got stuff running at you all the time. Every few waves on some of the larger levels like this, you'll get a small reprieve about halfway through. Sometimes you get two. I think at this point I decided I'm just going to stop everything. I decided to change my tactic and use archers instead. I'm not sure why I used tar traps in that point. I'm not really a big... Tar traps simply just slow orcs down, which is pretty nice for, if you're going to shoot at them. But I've upgraded my spike traps so they slow down orcs as well. So even though they're not as effective as tar traps when slowing enemies, I prefer them because you get a little bit of damage as well. So you don't really need to, because they'll be dead. These archer guys just shoot anything that come near them, and because of the way that I've set up the barricades, they're safe. Orcs can't get to them. There are enemies later on that can destroy barricades, or if you place them directly in the path, and they've got nowhere else to go, they will just smash through barricades. So I've kind of just reset myself now, because at first I put them all in front of the door, but I decided that wasn't such a good idea, because now I can slow them down and then the archers can just let hell descend on them. And later on I actually decided to pull back further, because I get the walls, which I'll show you another trap with them later. It's usually more advantageous to pull back because you get more space in which to work with walls and stuff, because there are some traps that go on ceilings, some that go on walls, some that go on the floor, and then you've got people that you can have around. But obviously that comes at the price of you're closer to the rift, so So what I'm using now is the wind belt, which is pretty nice. You can just blow enemies back. You'll see me using that later on to blow enemies back into traps. But also another thing about the crossbow as well he's got is it fires as quickly as you can press the mouse button, but the price of that is accuracy. You can kind of sit there and wail on them as fast as you can, but you're not going to hit anything unless they're right next to you. So you'll see me a few times during this game just going crazy because they're too close to the rift. I'm just like, ah, die! Yeah, act of a desperate man. But other than that, it's pretty accurate. You just kind of wait a second between each shot. It's really accurate and really nice. Headshots give you extra gold. Oh yeah. Some orcs have bows, and they're quite annoying. They shoot back at you, and they can also shoot at your archers as well. They don't usually do that. There you go, there's the wind belt again. You can also blow them into these pits of acid, just like I did then. They're quite useful for that. There are also like spring traps later on. You'll see them later on, but I don't really get a chance to use them because I put them right at the end of my little gauntlet, and everything was just dead before they got there. These are one of my favourite traps. They're spike traps, not spike traps. Arrow walls. So basically anything that passes through that red area that was there when I placed it just gets wailed on by loads of massive arrows, and it's absolutely hilarious. I like to set them up in like an array, so there's one on each side of the wall. So I don't like putting two on the same, like two opposite sides of the wall, because one enemy triggers both, and yeah, okay, that one enemy will take loads of damage, but then they take quite a while to recharge, so it's not really worth it in my respect. You know, you just I like to just have the one, and then if they survive, the other one can finish them off. What am I doing now? Are you about placing down another archer, or? Oh, that's it. No, I think I decided to put them on the other side. I think this is when I decided to pull back and have them on the other side, just because it condenses everything down. So I really like my trap areas to just be like squished into one area, so they just take crap tons of damage in one go, and then I can just pick off whatever gets through. Because it's not that difficult actually to do that. And then when you get to like massive waves of enemies, also the nice thing about having them all condensed together is if a big group of them do manage to get through because the traps haven't recharged, you can just use the wind bell and go, back in you go, and then they get messed up. But having these little reprieve moments are quite nice because it does give you the opportunity to rethink your strategy. Like I did several times during this level. I think this was possibly the most optimal. Because I just spam spike traps. That's one of my main tactics. Spam spike traps, spam arrow walls, and not much tends to get through it. So yeah, let's see how this one works. Okay, here they come. And of course, while they're coming through, I can just wail on them a bit, get some of them weakened down, kill some. Headshots are fun.
What a mess.
His comments are amazing as well. Listen out for the things that he says. Some of them are absolutely hilarious. He's such a dick. Here we go. So they get through all the arrow walls, and then they've got bloody spike traps and archers to deal with, and then they've got me to deal with. See that? You see that kobold that ran through? That's the one. That little bastard. See? It goes down to... Oh, I hate that. If I find that guy again, he's going to get owned. But there you go, look, they all get blown back. And then they just get, they get spikes again. Spikes for you. Crossbow bolts for you. Arrows for you. It is just utter chaos. And that's it, that's the level complete. You did a little dance. It's pretty awesome. That was fun. I enjoyed that. I did only get 3 skulls. I think that was because I let one... That's your ranking. So how many skulls you've got is how well you did in the level. I think it's because I let that one guy through. And yeah, I didn't have the most optimal trap layout to start off with. So I think it just kind of... I'm not sure how it ranks you other than things that get through. But you can only I think you can only 4 or 5 skull it if you don't let anything through. So this is the Twin Halls. This one's quite an interesting level because you get two doors that enemies can come out of. So they come down from either side, and then you've got the 2 hallways that lead to the one rift, and then you've got all these little like networking tunnels and stuff, and little towers and things that you can put archers on, or you can just work it out whichever way you want. I decided. I never used to be a big fan of barricades because I thought they were really expensive for what they did, and then I realised why they were expensive. It's because you can literally just make the level, for a large investment early on in the game, you can just make the level so much easier by focusing everything down into one lane, and then you can just concentrate all your traps into that one area, and it's just a bloodbath. So I spent a little while trying to figure out how to do it, and then I kind of put the barricades down here, which forces whatever comes down this hallway to come down here. They get to the barricades, and then they have to go across the bridge area, which means anything that comes down this corridor's got longer to go. So what I did was basically they'd come down here, and then the idea was to place all the traps on the second half of the other corridor that I'm heading towards now. So that means that everything that comes out of either of those doors have to go through traps. There isn't anything that gets off lightly, and it had to be that way because anything that got across that bridge, if there weren't traps there to greet them, they'd just go straight into the rift because it is really close from that point. But they've got longer to go to get there, so when they come through, I'd probably just run across to that side or take out anything that comes from the left-hand door first, because obviously they take less time to get here. I really love the music in this game as well, by the way. Yeah, so I mean, this one was kind of easy because of the barricades. They have no choice but to take a really long route, so I can just kind of sit there and pick them off. Not that interesting, just pew pew pew. Yeah. I'm not entirely sure when exactly the sequel's coming out. I know it's this week. I'm just not sure when this week. I think it might be Friday or somewhere around there. It's the 13th, is it the 13th of July? I don't know. I can't open Steam because my video will stop. I'm recording this in Premiere at the moment. So yeah, if I go anywhere off, it'll just stop the video and then the audio will go out of sync and it'll be like... But the second one looks really awesome because you've got 2-player co-op mode. I might have to do a playthrough of it, but I need someone to play with. I'll do it on my own if I have to, but it would be cool to do the 2-player co-op. So they're coming out of this side now. This is a little bit more dangerous because I haven't got that many traps set up. You'll see ogres on this level as well, and you see me freak out a little bit at the ogres because I hadn't fought one before. The previous level I did before and did really badly at it because I didn't do the barricade thing, even though the barricades are the item that it gives you, so you obviously have to use it. Another way that you can do this level by using the spring traps that you get given is catapult things from one corridor to the next. You kind of bounce them across to make them take more time. But the trouble is, this level has ogres in it, and unless you upgrade your spring traps, ogres aren't affected by them. So I just kind of decided not to go with it. Put down some arrow walls instead. Arrow walls are always good. Let's go! So more stuff coming down the left-hand corridor this time. I'm not quite sure when the ogre turns up, but I just remember going, oh no! Yeah, I just love the combination of strategy and action. It's just absolutely brilliant. Because I love strategy games, but they're usually too slow for me. It's one of the reasons why I could never get into Heroes of Might and Magic. Like, I'll watch people play Heroes of Might and Magic when I'm in the mood for it, but I could never play it. I just get bored way too easily. Whereas something like this, I can spend a few minutes planning out what I'm doing, and then that's it. It's just action. It's like a visceral result of what you do that you can just get stuck into. It's probably my background of playing mostly hack and slash games and stuff like that. Although saying that, the first video game I ever owned for PlayStation was Command & Conquer Red Alert. So I've got this weird Command & Conquer Red Alert and then Devil May Cry when I got a PS2. So maybe that's why I enjoy this kind of strange hybrid. Yeah, because I am a fan of high action. And, well, goes without saying really, one of my favourite video games of all time is Bayonetta.
Feel bad for the orcs. Except, not really.
On many levels. 2 very specific levels. But they're on the same level. But anyway, as you can see, I'm placing down a lot more spike traps and arrow walls. They're just so reliable. The spike traps do a little bit of damage and have a slow on them because I've upgraded them. I think I've upgraded the arrow walls by this point so they recharge faster, so it is just a corridor of death. Here we go. This is when the ogre shows up. These guys are nails. They just kind of just walk forward. They're pretty slow, but they just, yeah, they take a lot of punishment, especially if you haven't got any traps down for them. You'll see how many arrow shots it takes me to take one down. And they like to throw lots of these at you later on, and different kinds of them. Yeah. So here come the rest coming down. This was silly of me to wait for them to turn up, because look, here he is, the man himself. I don't think they take extra damage from headshots either, but look, it's just like he's turning on every single trap. He's going through several, and it's just. Oh yeah, and if they hit you, you get stunned as well. I freaked out at this point. Look at it, it's like, no! Stay away! See, the wind belt doesn't even work on him, he's too fat, but there he goes. Thank Christ. Oh, I remember, like, after that wave, I was just like, but it was my mistake. I shouldn't have let them walk across the bridge. I should have, as soon as that first wave was dealt with, I should have ran across and kind of dealt with them while backing off, which I think I learned that lesson now. Because here comes another ogre, I'm just running straight up to him, starting to wail on him. There you go, so they're accompanied by archers as well, which is quite annoying, so you have to keep repositioning so you don't get hit. I think how much damage you take is quite affects your ranking too. Because you do get a blade in this, there is a sword, which I did use quite a bit at the start of the game. It does a lot of damage. Obviously the risk is you get up close and personal with the orcs, so it's risk reward really. So now after doing that one, I didn't really get a chance to go to the other side because that ogre took ages to kill, but it's not too bad because these are just regular orcs now that just get absolutely zoned by traps. They don't even get past like the second wave. Easy. You could do this all day. No. You only get a small amount of time between waves. I just plonked down another arrow trap there. Because everything's got to pass through that area, so I thought, why not?
Some new decoration.
Yeah. So, things coming from both sides again. I got fed up by this point. I was like, I'm gonna run to him. Why not? This game's so nice. It looks really good as well. Like it's a silly game in the sense like some of the things that the orcs come out with. You know, can I be the good guy? Some of the things that the War Mage comes out with, just the premise of it, it's all a bit silly, but so, like the style of it is amazing. Just look at it; it looks awesome.
In your face,
indeed. I don't know why I've got this one soul archer, right? I think I wanted to have like a row of them, but I just forgot that I had no money, so I spent it all on spike traps and arrow walls.
Good times, good times.
He agrees with me at least. Here comes a bit more of the wind belt. I didn't realise this at first, but the wind belt actually does damage as well. They take damage when they hit the floor. So you can kill things with it as well as blow them back onto traps. I did figure out something in this area. I'm not sure whether it would have worked in this like really enclosed space. But it is a nice idea using the spike traps. So I'll explain more when that comes around. Oh, it's probably now actually because I've got loads of money. I've got a little break before the last couple of waves. Yeah, you see, I'm desperate to get those archers down. Archers are really handy, especially when you've got them in a vantage point where they can't really be hurt, because they will just keep firing, and you can upgrade them later on to have fire arrows and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. But I decided maybe they needed a bit more protection than that, just in case something gets through, because they are really squishy. So I thought, spring traps. Now, these do pretty much exactly what they say on the tin. They're a massive spring. If orcs walk on them, it just boings them in the direction that they're pointing in. So the reason why I've done that is pretty obvious, but if it works, obviously they come through all the traps, and then the spring trap just bounces them all the way back to the start again, and without me having to use the wind belt, they've got to go through all again. All this time, archers are wailing on them. Even if the traps aren't sprung, they're going to take loads of damage from that, and then obviously myself as well. So it's quite, I'm quite tactically minded, I'd like to think. It's just a shame that you don't really get to see it work, because I'm obviously too good. It's not my fault, I'm sorry. I wish I could show you everything this game has to offer, but I'm not crap enough. I will admit, one of the reasons why I I make these educated guesses and I record the game first and then do the audio afterwards. It's because I like to show people that I'm not actually as crap at games as normal. Because like when I do Tekkit and stuff, I'm trying to concentrate on talking and I'm recording at the same time, and it's all a bit slapdash and like, what am I doing? I can't think and talk at the same time. Talking is too much fun. I can't concentrate. So yeah, and obviously that kind of.
Ooh, here's a good one.
Whereas this now, I can kind of go, yeah, look, you know, I'm doing pretty badass.
Who wants more traps? I do.
Me too.
I do.
Yeah. Just look at all those spike traps, it's absolutely ridiculous. That is the one big advantage of having them all filtered down into this one corridor. Because I think they give you enough money to have a little bit on each corridor in case you don't go for the whole barricade thing. But that's a silly idea to me. Because, you know, basically, barricades are your friend. Like I say, when I first got them, I was like, these are so expensive, I'm not going to bother with these when I can have more traps. And it just make the level so much easier. You can focus everything down and yeah, and then you end up with areas like this that are just covered in arrow walls and spike traps and spring traps and arrow men, archers, that's what they're called. And then all the orcs come down it like hoop-de-doop and then just get absolutely wasted. Look at that, I haven't let anyone through. It's awesome. The archers are going crazy, they're loving it. I think there's is it one more wave? Yeah, I think there's one more wave where they send 2 ogres at me, and that isn't fun. It's 2 ogres. Or is it just the one? I can't actually remember. But I think I go a bit crazy at him. I just wanted him to die. I was like, screw you, and just run straight up into his face and just go, ah! More spike traps. Can't go wrong with spike traps. I think I've gone a bit over the top at this point though, because I'm just like, yeah, arrow walls everywhere. Doesn't matter which staircase they come down, they're gonna get absolutely just like crapped on. Here we go, here's the ogre. Take this! Oh, they do take headshots, that's alright then. But as you can see, there's another. If you look at the map, there's another one coming down. But this is just the point where I go, he's so big, I just sat there and went, ah! That was it. But yeah, this time I decided to like meet this guy on the bridge and do as much damage to him as I could before he got there. Absolute carnage. And this guy's just taking all of it, look at that. And as you can see, the spring trap would have activated if that was a normal orc, but sadly it wasn't. I would have liked to have shown you that. I'm not sure if it would have worked, because they might have hit the ceiling, but if it did work, it would have been absolutely hilarious. Got achievement there? Yeah. It's pretty awesome. I'm not sure what that was for, but never mind. I think we are just coming up to the end of the wave now. There we go. Woo! Good job, man. And I do believe that was a 5-skull victory. Yes, it is. How lovely. So yeah, that's pretty much all I'm going to show you today. I mean, you can see I'm upgrading my my arrow men there to make them cheaper. That's one thing you can do. You can use the skulls that you earn from doing missions to upgrade your stuff and make them better. But yeah, that's that really. That was Orcs Must Die. Sequel comes out this week. I hope you enjoyed it.